everybody. Today we have with us Mario Herrera, AKA Mars Era. He is a rapper and recording artist. He has been part of the performing group Keno Camp. They have performed in churches, festivals, and fairs all around the U.S. and have 2 albums out. He has many singles out, as well as 2 albums as a solo artist, most recently being Art of Losing Me. So welcome, Mario.
What's up, guys?
Man, we are so grateful for you having you here.
I appreciate you guys having me, man.
Man, I remember the first time we met. It was actually at a church out in Chatsworth, was it?
Chatsworth Foursquare?
Chatsworth Foursquare.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were there?
Yeah, Chatsworth Foursquare. Shout out to Pastor Jerry.
Yeah.
Chatsworth Foursquare.
He's great. Yeah, he actually let us perform at his church a long time when we had our band going.
Yeah.
What was the name of your guys' band?
I don't want to say it.
Oh, you guys gonna say it?
I think it
wasn't United.
It was One Nation.
It was One
Nation.
Nation.
I
And
remember.
then it's funny because it was right before what's that boy band?
One Direction.
One Direction came
Oh,
out.
gosh.
So it was just like, man.
It's crazy how many people you guys had in that, because I'm starting to like meet people and they're like, yeah, I was from like when I met JT,
right.
I'm from One Nation. I think Songbird was even in One Nation, right? Brianna
Yeah.
was. Bro, you guys were like the Wu-Tang of.
We've been around, man. It's weird.
It's so weird.
And then when they would make fun of us, they're like, "Oh, that's One Direction," but they would be like Juan Direction. Like,
One Direction.
One Direction. That's racist, man.
They're the Christian One Direction.
That's crazy. So I didn't know that because we obviously didn't know each other at the time. But wow, man, it's such a small world.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah. But thank you so much for being here.
For sure, man.
So rap, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Been doing it for too long, I feel.
Just for the record, you're sick, bro.
Thank you, bro.
You're really
Appreciate
good.
that. Thanks.
It's great. Like I said, dude, the first time I heard you, I was like, who is this guy? Who is this cat? And it was because I was like, dude, this is good. And I heard your stuff live first.
Right.
Versus like your albums or whatever you've recorded. And it's so good.
So good.
Yeah,
But
and I think you were listening to like the Keno Live, right?
Yeah.
Back then it was
Back
Keno
then
Camp
it was
Live,
Keno
right?
Camp
Yeah.
Live, yeah.
Okay.
man,
We had the
I
whole
kind of
squad.
feel like I remember that. That's insane.
Yeah,
So long
bro.
ago.
I think it was like a worship night that you guys put on.
Like that, yeah.
It's crazy, man.
But so tell us, how did you get started in rapping?
Man, it actually like the same story as how I began my walk with God. I lost an uncle to a drive-by shooting. He was killed in Canoga Park due to gang violence, and I wanted to do something as a tribute for him, so I made a song. And it was crazy because I did that song, and one thing that kind of motivated me to continue to pursue it was I was rapping it in my room one time, and my dad was standing outside of my window. And I remember like he was like, "Mario," and then I like kind of looked down. He's like, "What was that?" I was like, "Oh, I was rapping here." But it's crazy because I grew up with a dad. Like we weren't allowed to listen to hip hop when we were younger, especially with profanity.
Oh wow!
And it was
how
crazy
old were you at this time?
I was 13. I was 13 at the time, and when I wrote it with, and there were some cuss words in it. So he heard that.
Yeah.
So he's like, "All right, I want to hear that later on." So I went back to my sketchboard and I started crossing out all the cuss words to try to replace them and everything. And then I showed it to him, and he was like, "Man, that's really good." And he was like, "Hey, do it for so-and-so, or do it for our family member over here." Everywhere I was at, it was like, "Do it for this person." And I was just like, from there, it was kind of like, okay, well, I like this. I like, my dad's motivating me. So, just from there, I kind of like continue to do it, man. We're talking I was 13 years old. I'm 32 right now. Flip those numbers around, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You do the math.
That's crazy because obviously your dad heard you, and
Right.
a lot of parents don't really push their children to pursue the arts. My mom wanted me to be a lawyer. My mom wanted me to be a doctor.
Doctor, huh?
Yeah, didn't work out for me.
My dad just wanted me to get a job.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Did you listen? Were you did you like rap and hip hop
I
at
loved
13?
it, bro. I loved it, man. I loved it when I was younger, when I wasn't supposed to be listening to it. At least, I was able to listen to the Rapper's Delight, some of the older stuff because they weren't cussing as much. But there was, every once in a while, my dad would pop in a West Side Connection tape, and it was Ice Cube. And that thing was just like, it was beautiful to me. You know what I mean? Like all the profanity and everything, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was great. But yeah, I loved hip hop at a young age. It's crazy.
Yeah, hip hop is a great art form. I mean, it became its own culture at a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how did that culture influence maybe your walk during that time when you were a kid?
Well, like the way it started off as therapy for me. Until this day, it's still therapy for me. You know, when I was doing stuff with Keno Camp, we were saying stuff, but at the same time, we're trying to have fun. But when I became a solo artist, if you listen to Life on Mars, I took a beat that people could have fun with. But if you listen to the lyrics, I'm actually talking about like the place I was in during that time. I was financially hurting, you know, and that whole album is just about being a father, trying to provide and being there for my kids throughout the whole thing. So I'm just like, everything I was feeling, all the shortcomings and all the guilt, I just put it into lyric form and I just made an album out of it. Versus you listen to this new album, I was going through a season of loss and hurt and I turned that into an art form. So yeah, it's therapy for me.
Yeah, and then talk a little bit about that season of loss and hurt.
So when I started the album, Art of Losing Me, I wrote a song. It's called Like This. It's on the album. And my grandpa had just passed away. So he passed away and I started to look for music. I started to look for something that I can do for that. I found the beat, started writing to it. When I was writing my last bar, my grandma ended up passing away. So that's why if you listen to the song, I ended with Table for Two because grandma's on her way. Like the day before I wrote that, next day she passed away. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy,
wow. Bro, that just hit hard right now.
You know, crazy. But
yeah.
Like that whole project, and even from when my grandpa died to my grandma dying, we were losing people. You know what I'm saying? It was grandpa. We lost a friend named Ralph in my church. We lost Javier. We lost Jasmine. It's crazy because I'm getting ready for my grandma's funeral. I'm right there ironing my clothes. I get the call, oh, Jasmine passed away. I'm just like, I'm trying to bury my grandma right now. I'm trying to get this out of the way. And now it's like, I got this going on now. But I'm starting to notice that when I'm writing a project, God has me in that season. And like, I'm not coming out of that until I'm done with it pretty much. I was having anxiety during that time. I ended up in the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. You know, it turned out to be a panic attack, but man, I swear I felt like the same thing, you know? But yeah, man, it was just like, okay, once you're done with this project, you're going to kind of exit out of that. And then I'm just like, I don't want to rap anymore because you're going to put me in something else that I might not want to be in.
Right, yeah.
You know, people say that, you know, the best artists come out with their best albums after a breakup, right? Man, after a heartbreak. Man. And they're so good, but your pain is different. And in listening to especially Life on Mars, you know, I'm sure Andrew felt the same way. We related to you as an artist. Not only as an artist, but we have like dreams, aspirations. We want to succeed. We want to provide for our families.
Right.
And we're trying to do it through a method that is unconventional. It's not like you go to school and you get a good job and you retire and that's it, right? Like, it's almost like we have something to say. And there's no doubt that you have something to say, but, you know, you can get as personal as you'd like. You don't have to, but what were some of those struggles that kind of were hitting you during that first album?
The first album, it was the fact that like rent's not being paid on time. I got this, what I feel is a God-given talent to me, but I'm not able to survive off of it. I'm not able to do it for a living. I have to go do my 9 to 5 and then I get to come back to do this when I have spare time. And I feel like it should be the other way around. You know, I feel like if we have a gift, we should be doing it. And it's kind of depressing when you have something and then you put it out there and it's almost like you're releasing it into thin air, like nobody's going to listen to it or, you know, and so that was that thing. Another thing was I feel like by me doing this, I was neglecting my family at the same time. I feel like I was consuming my mind into this so much that I'm missing my kids growing up or my daughters right there like asking me a certain question. I'm just like, not right now because I'm writing this down. that even played a part. You know, I got the song Home on The Art of Losing Me. It's all about that.
My favorite song, yeah.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. It's all about that. You know, that right there is how I feel all the time, you know, and staying up late at night, regretting where I'm at. That's all real feeling right there, you know. And I think for me, though, is like I said, it's therapeutic for me to put it out there. I need to get this out somehow. I feel like everybody needs some sort of outlet in their life, and mine is just happen to be music.
You say, we were just talking about it, and to be honest with you, bro, like your songs have made me cry. You know, because they're just so raw and real and relatable. You know, it's not like you're putting up, you know, phase or anything, but
right.
We were talking about these two lines that you say in the song Home. The first one being, you know, I wish I never picked up a pen and a pad. Like, I wish I never started this.
Right.
And you also say, I wish I didn't have it. Kind of like you wish you didn't have this talent.
Right.
You know, in response to neglecting your family. And I think a lot of people feel like that.
I think a lot of artists go through a time and a season where they just grind, and everything it's like I have a project coming. I want everything around me is the result of that project. Right. And it's very easy to neglect those closest to you sometimes. And that's difficult. Like, I'm not a parent, but I can imagine like putting myself, because I remember growing up, it was like that. Like,
right.
Yo, I have a question. My parents would push me away. It's not good for a child, you know.
Right.
Like, there's some sort of hurt. But talk a little bit about just how you felt like this album. How did that really kind of, I don't want to say affect your home, but how did your like, because you're married, you have a wife and children. How did that affect their like responsibility or your responsibility with them? Like, did you feel any sort of?
I think it's more the personal time, not necessarily like I'm gone or anything like that, because I can be in the same house with my family and I can still be gone. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like kind of how you said it. I had a question that I would always ask my parents, and they would kind of just push me away. I'm dreading that day, but I know it's going to come one day because I'm guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping, not that it's an excuse, but that my kids will hear the music one day and they'll be like, okay, I kind of get it, but it's still not an excuse. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we should ever neglect our kids, not answer my daughter's questions, especially my oldest daughter, bro. She's got a million questions about everything, you know, but I don't think I'm the father that kind of like abandons or like leaves and takes off or anything like that. I'm kind of just leaving into my artwork, which is no better. You know what I'm saying? It's no better at the end of the day.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
22.
22.
22 years old.
Did you feel like that affected your journey as you know, pursuing your career or as an artist?
I always say, like, I don't regret nothing in life. I don't regret my children. If I did it again, I would probably wait until I was financially stable, because I wanted kids. I wanted kids at a young age, but I wasn't ready for it financially. I believe I loved my kids. I believe I'm watching them grow, but financially I wasn't able to provide for them. And people were like, well, it's just money. But no, man, like that, when you can't provide for your family, what it does to you as a man, that'll put you in a funk where it starts to affect the ones around you. You know, those questions aren't sounding good right now because I'm over here in my mind thinking about how am I going to provide for my family right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think I answered that question.
Yes,
like over here drifting over my mind.
No, but that's really raw, because as an artist, right, you have something to say.
Right.
But in the back of your mind as a father, you're like, I also got to provide for my family.
Right.
And how do you navigate that now with your projects that you've recently released and even projects in the past? Like,
right.
That's very interesting, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that they're like, man, I might be too old for this. Maybe it's past my time. But
right.
you know, if you have something to say, like you have something to say, and your creative outlet is a way to do that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, all this, the way I was feeling was during Life on Mars. So when Life on Mars was done, I ended up getting a job, and that job pays my rent. You know what I'm saying? That job, I'm not late on rent. My dad could attest to it now. You know what I'm saying? He's my landlord. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
But yeah, I'm not late on rent anymore. Now it's more like, okay, that's out of the way. Now it's like my daughters are getting older now, and they demand more attention. They demand more time. So it's like now I gotta be like, okay, if I'm working on this project, I gotta make time for them now, and that's where I'm struggling at right now, because when I'm in my mind and my head is just going everywhere, you tend to forget stuff. Especially with me, if I'm focused on one thing, all I can do is focus on that. That's why I give it up to mothers who can do one thing and do this thing over here. Man. They can iron clothes over here. Like, it's crazy what they can do. That was a little sexist. I know. Sorry about that. But yeah, man, like, they're just built different. Like, my wife can do 100 things at one time, where me is just like, I'm focused on this right now. I'm not thinking about anything else. So I gotta check out of that every once in a while. I gotta be like, you know what? I'm not gonna write today, or I'm not gonna write until they go to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Good. That's good advice.
Yeah, that's good time management.
As Keno Camp.
Yes.
Tell us about Keno Camp and how did that happen?
Keno Camp, man, that's a long story. It started off, I was performing at a church in Compton Victory Outreach. And this guy just approached me and he was like, hey man, we're doing this thing with these brothers over here. We're trying to create this group of people. Come to the meeting. And I was just like, I've heard this so many times, like I've heard it so many times. And I was actually dodging his calls. It was Bill Wilson. Shout out to Bill Wilson, who was the Keno Camp manager. And my brother, Anthony, he was the one that was like, you going to call him? I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And then he's like, hey, he's hitting me up, man. You got to call him. So I ended up calling him. We ended up meeting. And that just like, that brotherhood kind of just grew. It like we had like 10 members. And then it trickled down to 3. The faithful 3, And through that, we made 2 albums. We were able to travel to St. Louis, New York, right off the back, Indianapolis, Arizona, a bunch of times. Like, we were able just to travel around the states, Colorado, Denver, all that. And I feel like we ended up dropping a song called Obey, and that thing just blew up. Like, it had so much attention. Right now, I believe it's at like 500,000 views, or like climbing up there, But yeah, man, those are still my brothers to this day, man. My boy Just Gabe is getting ready to drop his project, So shout out to Just Gabe. Terrell, he's adopting the world right now, man. He's got like 6 kids right now that he's adopted, So
that's awesome.
Yeah, fostering. I apologize, fostering, But yeah, shout out to him too.
Nice.
That's cool. And during this time in this season in Keno Camp, they obviously saw something in you. So talk a little bit about your development to get to a place in that, because let's all be real, our first work is never the best work.
Yeah, like how'd you get so good, bro?
Oh man, bro. Well, if I'm being real with myself right now, and I always start off the whole group thing at Keno Camp because I feel like people knew about Keno Camp, so it's kind of worth talking about. But Keno Camp wasn't my first group. If we really go down the line, I have a project out there that I'm glad is not out, but I know somebody has it. I want to say I was like 16 when I made that album. It's called Spiritual Individual, and it was just like trash. And then I ended up dropping other projects, and then I started a group called God's Clan Reapers, and then we ended up doing music together. And then from there, I got into another group called Dethroned Kings, and we started. So there's a lot of music that was being made. I don't know. I've lost track of how much songs I've written down, but there's music out there with, my voice on it. But it just didn't do nothing until I hit with Keno Camp, and then Keno Camp is like, okay, now I'm touring, now I'm on stages, now I'm getting paid to do what I want to do, So yeah, that's kind of like how it happened.
So it was a lot of repetition, a lot of just writing, a lot of
putting work in there, man. Yeah, a lot of different song making.
How much do you write? Like, what's a typical week look like for you as a,
I try to write a song a week. Like at least a verse. You know what I'm saying? I got to write a verse down. Right now, because this album just dropped, I was kind of like chilling until like that beat just pops out of nowhere, and I'm just like, I got to write to this thing. Like right now I'm writing a song right now, and I'm almost done with this. So that's like, I got to get back to work already,
Right.
So, yeah.
As an artist, man, you just got to create.
What was crazy is after Keno Camp, I told myself I was done. I was like, I'm done and I'm cool. I did what I wanted to do. I was able to go out there. I'm like, I'm good, God. I don't, whatever. And then like me and Keno Camp would like hit each other up like, hey, we should do something again, you know, get together, blah blah blah. But it never happened. It never.
You did take some time off, right? Where you weren't like, performing. Or
if you
like
listen to Life on Mars, there's a song called "Grown Man Business," and Gabe is on that song. When he wrote that song, there's a line in it that says, "I got my son on the way." His wife was pregnant when we did that song. By the time I released that song on Life on Mars, his son was like already 2 or 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how much of a break I took. And I was like, I'm done. Like I got this song. I'll just keep it in the archive, whatever. And then it was just like, I'm writing again. Oh, 1 song, 2 song, 3 song, 4 song. Now it's, I got 10 songs. I got to drop this album. And then that just happened to be one of them.
That's tight.
Finally, you know.
I like the line where you're like, people are asking, where's the camp at? We're still here, man.
Right.
But I'm here now. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
And writing all these songs, and would you say that it's your faith that keeps pulling you into saying something like, hey, I have something to say, not just about obviously who I believe in my faith, but also about life.
Right.
Would you say that has a role?
Absolutely. Like God is the giver of the gifts, man. You might say you're done, but God's like, no, you ain't done yet. You know, I'm telling you, man, I was ready to hang up the mic. I was ready to just do a 9 to 5, do whatever I had to do. But it was like, no, you're not done. There's a reason why I'm still doing it. Not that I'm going to get to where I had in my mind or anything like that, where I felt I wanted to be. But there's probably somebody that needs to hear these songs. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just, yeah.
100%. For someone who says, you know, teenage kid, and it's like, I want to do what you know, Mario does. I want to get into this industry. I want to, you know, rap. What advice would you have for someone like that, other than don't do it?
I know the typical don't do it. I would say if it's hip hop, definitely do your homework. Study the greats. Go back, listen to the old hip hop, listen to the new music. You know, you want to be relevant. You want to have an updated sound. And then work at that craft, you know, constantly write. If you want to be a lyricist, like you gotta do your research on words and how to, you know, even, what's the word I'm looking for? Even syllables is a big thing in hip hop. You know, if you want great delivery, the syllables inside of a word, it's crazy how you can manipulate words. Like I love wordplay, I love metaphors, I love all that stuff in art. So you got to work at the craft. If you feel like, oh, I'm gonna just do it, it's not gonna happen. I've been doing this for years now and it still hasn't happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely work at your craft. Here's a good one. When you do a song, don't just show your mom and show your family members and get their approval on it, because they're going to love everything you do. You got to get constructive criticism from the people around you. Get a group around you that people are going to tell you, hey man, that was whack, that sucked. Don't do it. Don't put that out.
Don't put that out.
Yeah,
No,
and then
don't
build from there. Like, all right. And then learn how to take that constructive criticism and just continue to build at the craft. Yeah.
That's good.
And you mentioned something about lyricists.
Right.
How do you go about choosing the right words? Like, because there's times where, you know, I've tried to dabble on spoken word, and it's not easy.
Yeah, spoken word's a beast, man. That's a different animal right there, you know?
Yeah. So what's your creative process in everything?
Well, one of the mistakes that I've done before in the past is assuming what a word means. And just because I like the way it sounds, I'll be like, I'm gonna put that in there. And then like somebody points it out, like, bro, you know that word doesn't even mean the way you were trying to say it. So go back to your dictionaries, guys, and make sure that those words are what you're trying to say. That's one thing. Another thing I look at when the words is how can I manipulate the word? So, or how can I talk about one thing and paint a picture inside somebody's mind, but actually mean something else? So, for example, let me remember the lyrics. I was like, we're taking aim at the game with the bars in us, apart us. God has been arming us, waiting for Buck Barnabas. We coming hard enough, fellas. Tell us to kill the verse and let Bodega out of his cage so he could say the word. I hope I put it well. This mission shouldn't fail. When those dark nights come, just know this Christian wouldn't bail. So that's like one of the ones. So I'm trying to, like the Dark Knight, Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like hard days, but this Christian won't bail. You know what I'm saying? So that's one.
Wait, that's already a song, or did you
that's
just?
an old. That's a
I was
Keno
like,
Camp
bro,
one.
he just
dropped that right now,
just
bro.
spit that right now, bro.
Yeah, that's actually a Keno Camp verse. But there's one on there where I'm saying, with great tracks, something with great tracks to stack them up, like twerkers on the beat. We got techniques to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm trying to paint that picture in your mind, but at the same time, I'm not talking about a twerker. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like we have what it takes to back up what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Metaphors.
Metaphors. It's all metaphors and
or euphemism, whatever you want to take it.
yeah.
So I want to change kind of like the conversation to your faith.
Yes.
And how it's played a role in not just your music making, but the decisions that you've made in your life. I could be wrong about this, but the rap culture has this kind of stigma or this almost picture of it being very, drugs and alcohol and twerking,
right. Women and just womanizers. This is just like,
it's all there, man.
How does your faith bleed into not only your creative process, but how you make decisions as an artist?
Well, one thing I won't do as an artist is talk about something that I'm not about. Okay, so if there's an artist that's talking about that, it's most likely because he's living that. Me as a believer, that's not my lifestyle. So I'm not going to talk about that. It's what, of course, my faith is going to bleed into my lyrics. So if that's why you hear the dads, that's why you hear the financial struggle, that's why you hear the loss, because that's what I'm living, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So yeah, man.
Did you have any?
My faith is definitely going to bleed in there.
For sure. Did you have any like influences along the way who kind of helped you out through the journey?
I mean, I have my top fives and all that. But what do you mean by that? You mean like believers or
yeah
certain believers? I believe Lecrae played a part in my process. There was an artist who was he's actually not a believer anymore. He goes by Red Cloud. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was definitely a person, like he made me want to go back and learn how to freestyle. So kind of like come up off the top on the spot type thing. So I don't know if you ever see me where I kind of do this little thing where I tell people to pull out an object. And we'll rap about that. He actually did that. I actually seen him do that. So it's not an original piece.
Right.
That's something that I seen him, and at Chatsworth Foursquare he did it, and I was just blown away. And I was like, I gotta learn how to do that. So he definitely helped, like inspired me to do that. Then you have the Odd Thomases with the beautiful eulogy and their ability to be lyrical and theology at the same time, and that inspired me as well. So yeah, there's definitely a few people. Then you got the Switchfoots, bro. You got the people, the Switchfoots, and those kind of people that really, inspired you as well.
Did you have any pushback from people in the church?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I get a lot, even till today, is that my music isn't heavily gospel. It's not Jesus everything. You know what I'm saying? I think that's my biggest complaint, I feel, if you want to say. But like when people ask me like, are you a Christian rapper? I'm going to say, first of all, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? But before anything, I'm a believer in Christ. And because of that, it's going to bleed into my lyrics. But if I'm being honest with myself, I don't prefer us to have a genre of Christian hip hop. I wish that we didn't have Christian hip hop. I wish that we took our message without, manipulating it or taking the gospel out of it, and we just took it to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Let's just take it to the umbrella of hip hop and be amongst everybody else who's doing it. And let's just bring our talent and our gospel, because if you're bringing it good, if you're doing it, people are going to listen to you. Now, if you're whack, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
stay home.
There's other conversations. Yeah, because actually, like I remember one time I was listening to like a workout playlist, And then the song came out. I'm like, dang, this is good. Like, who is this? It was Andy Mineo. And then I was like, I looked at the rest of the playlist. I'm like, this guy should not be in this playlist right now.
Right. Yeah.
But he made it, you know?
Right, exactly.
And it's like, if you're good and you have something to say, like, people are going to appreciate your work.
Yeah.
Right? And for a long time, that was a big, I mean, I think a lot of people still talk about that today. Like, you know, like why sometimes I think about like the Dove Awards, right? And you're like, why do we create the Dove Awards? It's kind of like, it's a way for Christians to like get their recognition with like, you know, it's just kind of like
weird.
I feel like we're creating this space of like falseness. Like we're creating fake celebrities. We're giving out these fake awards. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like, because like I've done concerts with big Christian hip hop artists, and then I've done concerts with people who were big in the, you know, in the secular industry, and then they came to faith. And I'm telling you, bro, like the Christian hip hop artist would be more cockier and arrogant than this person. Like Frankie J was one of the coolest people I've met. You know, he was, you know, big at one time, and then he came and, you know, he started proclaiming Christ, and he ended up performing at one of these churches, and he was the nicest person versus some other person, I won't say no names, and then they're just under this impression that I'm not approachable because I'm so-and-so. It's like, bro, if you were to go stand next to a Drake or a Kendrick or any of these artists, you're not even a B-list
Like,
celebrity.
who are you?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
oh, you want to sign hat?
I have that issue with like filmmaking and Christian movies being in their own category. They're so cheesy,
Right.
And they're so bad.
Right.
I think that if we had the mentality that you mentioned, that first of all, I am a Christian, I'm a believer, I believe in Jesus, and that should just be a part of everything I do.
Right.
Nobody says like, "Oh, are you a Christian cook?" What? No.
Christian mechanic.
Are you a Christian mechanic?
Right. I pray over this oil before I put it in.
I wear white, I don't know, like jumpsuit.
Yeah, man.
Like it doesn't make any sense. It should just be a part of everything that you do, and
Right.
that's really important.
And just chiming a little bit on that, what would you say is like, you know, what can Christians do or what can creatives do to kind of shift that?
Just create. Don't be so quick to put a tag on it, I feel. And release it. I feel like put it out there. Don't just cater to a certain group of people, I would say. Believe that's one way. Like for me, of course people are gonna hear my music and they're gonna put me in that Christian hip hop category, and that's fine, you know. I'm not trying to run away from it or anything like that. I just kind of wish it wasn't there. You know, they could just be like, oh, that's good. Like this is a different type of message right here. And it's just under that umbrella of hip hop or poetry or whatever it may be. So yeah, I feel like we kind of, and you know what? I'll blame it on, I think it's kind of hard to say, but at the church at the time when Christian hip hop was coming around, because you just didn't do that. You don't bring hip hop to the church. It's the devil's music. You know what I'm saying?
Just like you don't bring electric guitars,
Right.
jeans for that matter.
So I feel like they were forced. They were just like, no, you got to listen to it. It's holy hip hop. We're actually talking about Jesus. And I feel like that's where it kind of stemmed from, to where it just became this genre that's known by the world now. You know, everybody knows what Christian hip hop is now.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just wish it wasn't there. You know, I just wish people would like, it's hip hop. This is their lifestyle that they're bringing to the table.
And that just bleeds into the umbrella of hip hop. Right. Yeah, it happens a lot. It happens with everything. And
right.
I remember growing up, it was like that. It was just, oh, you want to listen to hip hop? You can only listen to Christian hip hop. I'm like, but I love listening to Eminem.
No, we have KJ52 for you. You don't listen to Eminem.
Yeah, right. And I did listen to KJ52.
Yeah.
Man, you should make an album talking about the things that the church should change, man. That'd be so good.
Man.
You know how much heat
you would get all the heat, bro.
Man. I wouldn't mind it, but you know.
It has to be said, man.
But people who make big changes get all the heat. So.
Right.
That's done. But we're in a weird time right now. Other than the fact that the Dodgers just won.
Man,
shout out to the Dodgers.
Since 1988, the year I was born.
Oh, nice.
My cousin kept telling me I had a curse. Like I cursed the Dodgers when I was born.
Oh, man.
Born. But we are in COVID times.
Yeah.
We are in a time where, you don't know if you can just go up to someone and shake their hand. It's kind of weird.
Crazy,
Yeah.
man.
But how has that affected your, what you do as a rapper?
You know what? Before COVID started, on The Art of Losing Me, I only had 3 songs. And that playlist is 10 songs. I'm glad COVID happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I don't mean to be insensitive to the people who have lost people to COVID-19 or anything. But man, it made me create. It made me go to my notebook and like, all right, I'm going to use this time and create. And through that, like, my brother started his thing with Cellmates Studios. They're the people that do my videos and all my picture work. Shout out to Cellmate Studios. And that started from COVID-19. But it breaks my heart when, like you said, like, you don't know if you could just go up to somebody and hug. Because I'm honestly in a place where I forget that we're still in a pandemic. I go out. If I see somebody that I know, I'm hugging them. But then you got those one individuals where it's like, what do I do? Like, even when you let me in right now, I was like, I don't know what's up with Angel right now. What do I do?
What's up? Or I don't know.
Yeah, man, because I'm a hugger, bro. Especially at church. You want to hug everybody. So, yeah.
No, you're right. And maybe that's why we launched our podcast. But
did you guys do it through COVID?
We did, yeah.
Awesome. Look at that.
Actually,
There you go.
I was in chemotherapy. He was, moving and just busy. But for some reason, I don't know, not being able to go like to the movies or to a restaurant,
concerts, bro.
Yeah,
You
concerts.
know how long it's been since I performed? It's crazy, man.
Just we have time,
And you just create, and then albums are created, and podcasts are created, and
amazing stuff.
A lot of stuff came out of it, though, man.
Yeah.
But it's sad when you hear like divorce is in a high rate, suicide is high. It's like, oh
insane,
man, it's crazy.
That's so sad. It's sad, and prayers out for everyone that's out there and is just going through a tough time. Hey, you have people to talk to. Send us a message. Email us.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you. What's next in your career?
Next. Well, it depends. Is COVID going to be in the future still? You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, that's continue to make music, bro. I feel like we're in a time because I that messed around with my head too. Like, am I getting too old for this? Am I reaching my limit? Are my best days behind me? All that kind of had running through my head. But I feel like COVID, it kind of like put me in a place where it's like people are just making music now. Everybody's just streaming music now. You don't even have to be in front of a crowd,
Everyone has a SoundCloud, huh?
Yeah, everybody's got a SoundCloud. You don't even see me, so it's like, how do you know what the age is behind the microphone that's being played in your speaker? But yeah, I'm gonna continue to make music. That's definitely what I'm gonna do. Continue to make videos, content, and I also want to continue to write scripts. That's another thing I do.
Oh, you write scripts?
Yeah, I like to write
movie scripts.
Like little skits and all that.
Okay,
but
short films,
stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I did that too, but I lost my mind, so I had to stop. It's so difficult. So technically, for you to get like this huge like breakthrough in your career would be for like some either studio owner or producer to hear you and be like, we want to sign you, right? That would be like,
you know what? I feel like I would rather do it on my own. If there's any possible way where I can be an indie artist and I can make sales on my own, I can just figure out
make a living,
make my own machine, I would put it that way. I would do it that way, definitely. But yeah, because we live in a time where the whole record label thing is kind of like not even, it's not even really needed anymore.
Yeah, it's like that in films too.
Yeah, it's not really relevant. Like, I mean, Netflix has been throwing out so much content.
Like, people are putting out stuff on YouTube.
That's
like so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of people make a living now. It's just like YouTube has really it's a good launch pad.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So to answer your question, my way of thinking like I've made it is I don't have to do my job over here anymore. I could just focus on this. Focus on providing for my family and spending time with my family. I've made it.
Well, from experience in what we do, it's almost like we never feel like we make it. Right?
No, because you always want more.
Right?
You always want more.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always want more.
Yeah. Even if you get to a Drake level, I'm sure that there's ambitions that Drake still has on his list where he's like, I need to fulfill this, otherwise I'm not going to be happy. It's just the human in us, you know.
Do you think at a certain point you just got to be satisfied, I guess?
We're supposed to be content right now. You know, we're supposed to be
Biblical.
content now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I agree with you, bro. Like, is there a time where it's like, just be happy that you made it this far? You know what I'm saying?
Enough is enough.
Yeah,
Enough is enough. And I mean, just hearing your story, you've done so much. You've toured. You've made your own solo artist records. And how much would you say, would you attribute that, like if you had to split it up, to your hard work in doing through this and the sacrifices that you had to do along the way? And how much would you attribute to those doors to be opened, I guess you would say, by God's blessing or God's favor in your life?
It's all God, bro. It's all God. From writing the lyrics on the pad to putting me in the season to create the album that he wants me in the direction he wants me. It's all orchestrated by God. Because like I said, I was done with this. And if it wasn't for God himself to pull me by the little strands of hair that I have left and be like, no, you're doing this. Like, you're going to continue to do this. It's like, okay, it's all because of God, man. There is no like my hard work and God. It's like God instilled me the ability to do the hard work, first of all. So it all goes back to God. Everything I do, it all goes back to God, man.
That's so good, man.
That's
so
awesome.
good.
Well, Mario, we can be here all night.
For real, man.
But
Is it 45 minutes already?
But we want to thank you really from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for making the time for being here.
Yeah, I know you got children at home.
Yeah, man.
For sharing your heart. Just from your albums and our conversation with you, you're a very open person, and not only have you impacted our lives, but I'm sure that you'll impact our listeners.
Appreciate
Definitely.
you guys, man.
Where can people find your work? Actually?
Everything is on all streaming platforms out there. iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, everything that you guys stream your music from, SoundCloud. You guys can hit me up on Instagram. That's Mars88 Era, Mars88 Era. Everything, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok now. Oh my gosh, I got a TikTok now.
No.
I've transitioned into TikTok. I'm still learning too, but yeah.
Yeah, like I'm still trying to like, what is TikTok?
But you're on Spotify and Apple Music as Mars Era.
Mars
correct?
Era. Everything is Mars Era. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mario Herrera, that's my slave name. No, I'm just kidding. That's my government name.
That's good. Well, we'll leave it on that note then. And again, Mario, thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank
in
you,
your
man. Love
career.
you guys, bro. Real
Love
talk.
you too, brother.